modern sounding medieval poet. Thank you again for coming here. Thank you to Malvern Books for hosting us and for letting us do this show. Remember, they are a bookstore, so they sell books. So buy lots of them after the show. That's how we're able to keep doing these great readings. Our next poet is ire'ne Lara Silva, and I've had the pleasure of knowing you for several years now.
A good 5, I think.
At least 5. And I've interviewed ire'ne on a radio show that I used to host at least twice. And she's a wonderful poet. I'm so happy that you're here today. I did a seminar with you a few years ago at the Feminist Poetry Festival. Is that still going on?
I think so.
Okay, well that was a good thing while it lasted. And we did. She did a seminar on what is it called again, grito?
Throwing gritos.
And you get to yell a lot. And so that was my favorite part. You get to just let it all out. Anyways, ire'ne has a new book, and what is the title of your book?
Blood Sugar Canta.
And it is available for y'all to buy. So please do. And I've got a couple of books as well. And are you going to read from that book, ire'ne? Thank you so much.
So, trying to figure out where to start. I think one of the things that's really interesting about hearing the work that you've read by Margot, I think what ends up linking languages in even different times is the experience of the body. You know, no matter what, that's going to link us, whether that has to do with sex, desire, hunger, pain, aging, you know, all of these different things. I mean, that's going to link us to other human stories throughout time, forever. Because that's what our common element, you know, whatever our cultures or societies or our cities may look like. You know, that's the place where we're all going to meet, you know, in this experience of a body. So I think I'm probably actually going to end up reading those poems from this. And I'm going to try to read poems that Tom hasn't heard yet. So, since he was at a recent reading. But I actually wrote this book, it just came out this year, but it took probably about 5 years or so between writing it, polishing it, and everything else. And it was a response and comment on the experience of being diabetic. And not just me personally, but in my family, in my brother and best friend, in my community, in, you know, when you look at people of color, when you look at the population of the U.S., you know, the population of the world, you know, it's an experience that is affecting more and more people, whether it's affecting them personally or whether it's someone in their lives or, you know, just what that means to our culture. And the strongest thing, there are 2 things that really got me. One was that when people talked about medicine or about healing, it was all grounded in the language of fear. And I thought, as I was telling Tom earlier, that's the most upside down thing possible. How can you heal if all you can think of is fear? If that's what controls you, that's what pushes you. That does not expand you, that does not give you power, that does not let in love, that does not let in possibility. Fear shuts everything down. So I thought, you know, I spent this whole book, I spent the time writing this whole book working on issues of fear. And what was interesting to me is that as soon as I was able to push fear away, the next thing that came in were ideas about love. And you know, love towards ourselves, and love towards our bodies, and love towards the things that our bodies do. You know, as I was telling a group of students recently, you know, for a lot of people that grew up in violence or homes with addiction or homes with, you know, different settings, or even in what we live in now, self-love and taking care of ourselves is the very last thing on the list. Survival comes first, distraction comes next, you know, and then there's everything else that comes after that. And so the idea of taking care of ourselves and of allotting resources and time and energy for that gets left by the wayside. You know, it's so hard to even come to learn that. But that was what came through as soon as I started really working on what the fear meant. So, let me see. I'm gonna start, after that serious intro, with the only funny poem in the entire book. And as you know, might come to see from my work, I don't do funny. There's one funny moment in my short story collection. There's no funny moments in the first collection at all. But this one happened because, again, the body makes me laugh. And I thought this was kind of necessary. So this poem is called The Diabetic Lover. It's not recommended, my love, that I cover your body with whipped cream and chocolate syrup and cherries for aesthetic emphasis. I could not dust you with enough whey protein to make up for all those empty carbohydrates. I cannot tongue red wine from your body or drink shots out of your navel, since that would make me quite literally sick. But the thought of grilled chicken breast and veggies with half a cup of brown rice served on your skin does not seem conducive to a night of passion. No, for sweetness, all I'd need would be 25 granules of terpinato raw cane sugar, oh so carefully counted, 1 on your left temple, that's where I'd begin. Dark sweetness exploding against my tongue, dark sweetness in the scent of your hair, 3 on your tongue, while I pulled on your lower lip with my teeth, 1 along your jaw, 1 down your neck, and 1 on your clavicle. I see sunlight and lush green leaves playing over your skin, 2 on one shoulder and 3 trailing down, diagonally to your hip. I meant to use only my lips, mouth, tongue, but my hands can't resist following the waves of your body, the ocean crashing in my ears. I take 5 in the palm of my hand and rasp them against the tips of your breasts, drink in your gasp, then hunt for every bit of sugarcane dust while you sighed. 3 down your abdomen like far-flung constellations, my mouth on your belly always makes you curl up. I'd catch 1 foot and then the other, place a granule on each arch. Since raw cane sugar doesn't dissolve at the first touch, I'd roll 1 granule up your calf, another from your knee to your thigh, 1 from your thigh to your hip, and then I'd find my 25 granules gone. But no worries, my love, I'd murmur against the apex of your thighs. Your sweetness always renders any more excessive and unnecessary. There you go. This is a funny body one. All right, so let's jump into something else. We will jump into back to the body. So it's interesting that a few of these poems interacted with other people on Facebook. And I forget why we were talking about chronic illness, and one of the people that commented, her name's Elizabeth Murphy, never met her in real life. We've been friends on Facebook for like, I don't know, 9 years now. But she made a comment that I thought was great and that just sparked this poem. And the comment that she made was, every disease takes us in pieces in some way. Cancer, MS, dementia, addiction, etc. They all systematically rob us of ourselves. And that's Elizabeth Murphy, who lives in some beautiful place in Oregon. But anyway, so this poem is called I Call Myself Back. I call myself back from the pain, from my horror, from my susto, from all the moments I named myself not normal, sick, diseased, unable, incapable, desperate, despairing, afraid, and crazed. I call myself back from nightmares, from leg cramps, from nausea, from forgetfulness, from unconsciousness and self-consciousness, from waking fears, from loss, from explanations. I call myself back from the nights I did not sleep, from shed and unshed tears. I call us back from medication that hurts us as it helps us, from hospitals and pharmacies, from doctors and nurses, from clinics and lab results, from blood draws and bandages, from little books with cramped numbers. I call us back from chemotherapy and radiation, from dizziness, from neuropathy, from side effects, from exhaustion. I call us back from trembling limbs, from more prescriptions and more injections, from everything that removes us from natural medicine. But I will begin at the beginning. Reclamation begins at every point. I call myself back from the child I was, always alone, afraid to be abandoned, unable to sleep. I call myself back from the child who was told she was ugly for her dark skin and her round features. I will remember her as a child filled with the joy of running, child on a swing, child on the roof gazing at the sky and dreaming. I call us back from all our hurts. Here we all are in our own pain, our fear, our shame, our guilt, our anger. I call us back from everything that has taken us. I take it, I call it all back. Our lands, our names, our tongues, our histories, our stories, our gods, our rivers, our mountains, our sacred places, our skies, our stars. I call us back from everything that rendered us alien every time we were told we did not belong, every time we were despised. I call us back from poverty and violence. I take us back from malnutrition and miseducation, from war and from addiction. I call us back from silence and separation. I call us back. We will not be robbed of ourselves. not by disease, not by history, not by the bureaucracies of healthcare systems or governments, not by doctors who never listen, not by a socioeconomic order which prizes cultural erasure, not by drug companies who do not believe our pockets are finite, not by the capitalist system that extracts our labor until it abandons us like broken machinery. We call ourselves back. We call ourselves back. We have walked through fire, through burning infernos. We have wept, we have suffered. We call ourselves back. We have survived, we have become stronger. We call ourselves back. We have not lost any part of ourselves. We are not diminished. We call ourselves back. We are whole. I like to randomly just go through the book and pick stuff out. That one's too sad. This is one of my favorite ones to read because it's the last one that I wrote. I was trying to write a ghazal. Every now and then I decided it might be fun to do a form. I also earlier in the book tried to write a sestina, and I think the sestina, it was a sestina about depression. The title of it is Depression, an Interrupted Sestina, because I just halfway through decided to do something else and then finish it as a sestina. So what happened to the ghazal is that I started writing it, and then I got bored of the way it looked on the page, and so I blew it up. But I kept the language that it had inspired. So this is Shame, a ghazal in pieces. A body should have its wildness. Yes, this body. Yes, your body. Who are they to name your body, my body, a shame body? Shame my weight, shame your weight. Shame how I look, shame how you look. Shame my disease, shame my story. Say we have made ourselves sick. We keep ourselves sick. What is the blame body? Would it be easier if my body did not exist? If your body did not exist? If all our diabetic bodies did not exist? Oh, we will not blame my body. My body, blame our bodies when my body has only done everything it could to survive. My body is a flame body, alive with fire, fire pulsing inside, shouting, live, live, live. My story, which is only triumphant, because I am still here. Neither pain nor shame will erase me or silence me. There are poems here too, here in the places where all maps end. Your body has survived, my body has survived. I will not be ashamed of surviving. And then, as y'all have seen, so the title is called Blood Sugar Canto. Blood sugar, of course, is a direct comment on diabetes. But canto is Spanish for song. And I really think all healing is based in song. Song is where we end up going for everything. And so the whole last section of this book has to do with both healing and with song. And, which one shall we read? We'll read the last one. There will be singing in the morning and singing in the night, singing in the days of want and singing in the days of plenty, singing alone and singing with ghosts, singing old songs and singing new songs. We will remember songs we haven't heard yet, songs that haven't been dreamt yet, songs no one has found the words for, songs sung on the road and songs sung in bed, songs sung while weeping and songs sung while waiting, songs for breath and sun and light and moon and earth and water, songs for sustenance. We will sing impossible songs, indecipherable songs, songs that cannot be heard and songs that cannot be shared. We will sing songs without words, silent songs and screaming songs, songs that tremble and songs we can embrace. Song and I live in each other's skins, song and I breathe each other's breath, take refuge in each other, passing silver firelight between each other's lips, hot and cold at once, naming and unnaming, freeing ourselves, taking wing, song and I spiraling in the sky. I would like to die singing. Let there be song in my throat spilling out. Let my last breath be song. How are we doing time? Okay.
You're lost in your approach, guys. You got the time. You want to do one more, then we can do a little panel?
We'll do a tiny little bit. So this is October, and within the month, it'll be the anniversary of my, actually of both my parents dying. They died on the same day, but 9 years apart, which is really freaky. My dad said it was because, actually he was in the hospital on the 1st, 2nd, 4th, 6th, 8th, and 9th anniversary of my mother's death. So he said she was trying to take him. I was like, well, maybe. You kind of deserve it, so. So this is, actually, and I wrote a poem for my mother, that's actually my first book, that was written a few years after she died. This one I started 10 years after she died. It'll be 15 years this year. But it's called, and I'm just going to be a short part of it. It's called One-Sided Conversations with My Mother. Cemetery. Ama, when you were alive, I never once spoke to you in English. Now, 10 years after your passing, I think there are things I would like to say that I've never learned how to say in Spanish. For some conversations, the dictionary is a doorway. For others, it is an obstacle. It's raining today like it was the day you died, the way it rained in the weeks after. Someone said it meant the sky was mourning with us, but I've always loved the rain, and so did you. You rested when it rained, no fighting the sun's heat. I imagine you could feel the hot earth sighing and all the green leaves singing. Your remains rest here. The earth is soft beneath my feet. The grass springs back when I have passed. I buried my braid here with you. You lay here alone for 9 years minus 1 day before they laid his remains beside you. The ground above him seems fractured, unsettled. I am not the girl I was 10 years ago, Ama. What would we say now about death, about dying, about life? Hospice. I will always be grateful for this place, the kind and graceful nurses, the blue serenity room, the separate gathering area, the small moments of care, the visiting harvest, the extra blankets, the couch where I slept, the blooming plants outside the patio door, the vases of fresh flowers volunteers brought. They never said you had too many visitors and visitors came at all hours, a lovely place for them to make their goodbyes, no cold and alien hospital. The staff left us mostly alone that last morning to hold your hand as your breath slowed and everything but your body fell away. We spent very little time speaking in your last days. You spent a lot of time sleeping, especially after they started the morphine drip. And then you couldn't speak at all. So strange, you lying in silence. When I lived at home after college, you never called or shook me awake. You simply sat at the edge of the bed and started talking. Eventually I'd respond, wake up, and our conversations of the day would begin. I think we both chose our friends for their ability to make interesting conversation. We delighted in talking to strangers. People always said we looked alike, though our features were completely different. I remember we were both so charmed when someone said we had the same smile. Do I resemble you more now that I am older? Thank you.
Thank you so much, ire'ne. Wonderful, beautiful poems. Blood Sugar Canto, it's her latest book, ire'ne's latest book. It is for sale right here, so everybody, after this is over, I'm sure Fernando would be more than happy to sell you a copy of the book. And this last part of